So I don't think I've ever seen a TV show like The Last of Us where so many show media websites want to talk about one thing and one thing only in this post-apocalyptic world where anything goes. They only want to talk about toxic masculinity. It's weird, man. I don't know what it is with the obsession with The Last of Us and toxic masculinity because this never happened really when we had talks about The Walking Dead. But then again, when The Walking Dead came out, we weren't in this climate of ridiculous, weak-minded people like we are now. But apparently from CBR.com, and this is coming from Katie Doll. Now, you guys know who Katie Doll is. We've done a video on Katie Doll's multiple different toxic masculinity articles, and she can't wait to talk about toxic masculinity. She loves it. But again, she's made an article about The Last of Us and says The Last of Us finally shatters Joel's tough guy image. The Last of Us Joel has left his past define him for 20 years. The series finally takes a breather to let him process his emotions in a healthy way. Katie Doll loves her weak men, let me tell you. She loves talking about the fact that if you're not crying 24/7 and expressing your emotions like a female, then all of a sudden you are a toxic male, and there's no room for that in a post-apocalyptic world, according to Katie Doll. But let's see what exactly she has to say for ourselves. It says HBO's apocalyptic drama, The Last of Us, is a masterpiece at subverting toxic masculinity in favor of a healthy representation of men. Joel Miller, in particular, has walked the path of tragic loss, where he suppressed his grief in a revealing episode 6 titled Kin. He finally airs out his emotions. Now, she linked to another article talking about subverting toxic masculinity, and we did a video on this article, and this article was written by yet another hardcore feminist. So there is a bunch of feminists over at CBR.com doing nothing but talking about toxic masculinity. At CBR.com, I want to be very clear. Like, you are a video game news website, you are a entertainment TV news website, and all you're talking about is toxic masculinity. You obviously all hate men. We get it. It's very, very simple. It's okay. You don't have to go crazy. We understand you hate men, but my God, can you come up with a different fucking article, CBR? Like, you guys have these writers for you, working for you, and I'm sure they're cheap. Don't get me wrong, which is why you probably keep them around. But my God, is it so terrible to constantly see nothing but toxic masculinity articles from women writing on a entertainment news review, comic books, gaming website. Like, obviously a male dominated space, and they want to that's all they want to talk about. It's like, come on, talk about something else. It says, since his introduction and the premiere episode, Joel has both ironically embraced and subverted the archetype of the stoic man on a mission. He's gentle and vulnerable with his daughter Sarah. He breaks down in a pool of emotions when she dies. 20 years later, he's a hardened man who refuses to emote sensitivity, especially when around 14-year-old Ellie. Yet as he spends more time with Ellie, he begins to accept his weakness in the most touching way. Well, why is it weakness? Why is it weakness? You think he has weakness? Is that what it is? It can't just be a man who lost everything. You think that's weakness? That's more being hurt. That's more having trauma that you have to deal with. It's not weakness. This is the problem. They want you to admit that you're weak. They love it. They get off on it. You don't understand. These girls like Katie Doll and like the other chick, they literally get off on this stuff when they're alone at home in their bed using the vibrating thing called Tommy that they probably named after whoever the fuck they want to name it after. They get off literally on this shit. They get off on every man that they could emasculate throughout the day. And the more men they emasculate throughout the day, the better they get off in the evening. I'm just being fucking honest with you. I really am, because these women deserve no mercy, and that's the problem. A lot of these people out here who defend women like this, they do it in the hopes that women like this will sleep with them. But women like this laugh at men that act like this, that act weak, like they want Joel to act. And because Joel doesn't act like that, then you want to talk about toxic masculinity. It's fucking insane. It says Joel and Tommy's brotherly reunion in the first crack at Joel's tough guy exterior. For the first time in a long time, Joel shows relief and happiness when he finds his little brother alive, even embracing him in a rare hug. Things become too emotional to him, however, when he sees everything he's been missing out while living a hardened life in Boston. Jackson, Wyoming is a place of hope and prosperity, where babies are being born and families are thriving. It's a place that would have been perfect for Joel and Sarah if she had lived, and he's reminded of that when he sees a woman that resembles Sarah if she had lived. When he imagines the what-if scenario, he begins to what looks to be a panic attack. It's the third one he's had in episode 6. Coming from his fear of losing Ellie, as he did with Sarah, seeing his brother and many others continue their lives as if the world had never stopped leaves him questioning his own life choices, something he never would have done before he met Ellie. Well, that's the thing, Katie. I know you're not used to this, but when you lose everything, when you lose it all, you do become a hardened human being. That's only natural. That's how a lot of people deal with trauma. And him opening up to Ellie is him just finally finding someone that he can get close to, even though he deep down doesn't want to, because he knows he's only going to lose her again. And that's the problem. It has nothing to do with weakness. It has all to do with dealing with trauma and understanding someone's emotion. It doesn't make him toxic because he was a hardened human being or put off and just focused on survival. It doesn't make him toxic at all. It says it's not until a later scene when Joel finally breaks down his walls. He cries to Tommy about having nightmares where he's falling in his sleep or failing in his sleep, expressing his disappointment in getting older and being unable to protect himself. Worse yet, he's scared that he won't be able to protect Ellie in dangerous territory, a fear that finally reveals how much he cares about her. While viewers know the grief Joel feels is because of Sarah's death, he never outwardly talked about it. Rather, he shoves it deep down because he believes his vulnerability will make him powerless and susceptible to more pain. By voicing his concerns, he allows himself to process his grief and accept Ellie into his life. Now, here's the part that really I wouldn't have had a problem with this article, honestly, if it ended there. I would have been said, all right, we could have our disagreements. It is what it is. But this part in the article right here, this last little paragraph is what makes it obvious where Katie Dahl's mindset is at. So it says toxic masculinity is a disease in any genre of media, but especially in post-apocalyptic stories. Men are often portrayed as the tough guys who will do the worst imaginable to survive, and in some ways, that's what Joel wants to be. It's just not who he really is. By visually and vocally showing Joel fighting against his own emotions and ultimately losing that fight, The Last of Us breaks Joel out of his stoic mold. He's no longer simply a troubled man shipping cargo. He's an open and honest man on a journey with someone else he cares for. Now, the last statement I would agree with because that is true. He obviously changes his way that he views Ellie, and that's the whole point of the story. The Last of Us is really just a story about Joel and Ellie's journey with each other and understanding their togetherness that starts to grow and their bond that starts to form. But this entire fucking paragraph right here is just complete retardation. To say that toxic masculinity is a disease in any genre of media is hilarious, considering how much we see toxic femininity destroy so much of the culture that we have grown up to love and appreciate throughout the years. But for you to say, especially in post-apocalyptic stories, I think that's hilarious because, first off, it's a post-apocalyptic story, Katie Dahl. It's post-apocalyptic, meaning the world is fucked, okay? That means the rules of society that comfort you oh so much that allows you to write these stupid fucking articles, that same comfort will be gone. It will be gone. It will all be gone. And that comfort is given to you by men who end up doing the hard shit that you don't want to do. Let's just be real. Men do the hard shit that a lot of women don't want to do. And that's just a fucking fact. So for you to downplay toxic masculinity as if it's some sort of a problem, especially in a post-apocalyptic world, just shows the level of comfort that you currently live in right now. Not only that, it says men are portrayed as the tough guys who do the worst imaginable to survive, and in some ways, that's what Joel wants to be. Well, here's the thing. You can be emotionally aware and also be a tough guy, or a quote-unquote, air quotes, a tough guy. I've met some dudes that can just flip that switch very quickly, where 1 second they could be the caring dad who would never harm a fly, and they could next second be the one who would fucking kill you, who will snap your neck and not even think twice. There are men out there who are capable of flipping that switch and being those kind of people when they need to be. And it doesn't make you weak just because you embrace one side, and it doesn't make you toxic because you embrace the other side. It doesn't mean anything. It just makes you a man, and that's something you'll never understand. And here's the problem. The only people talking about toxic masculinity are the people who don't have any masculinity, and that's women. And that's the issue with a lot of these articles. You have women talking about something they don't have any understanding of, and yet when we want to talk about reproductive rights, all of a sudden they want to say, well, you're not a woman, so you can't talk about it. It's interesting. I can't talk about that, but you could talk about toxic masculinity 24/7. So yes, Katie Dahl, obviously I don't agree with you. I think it's bullshit what you're saying. You obviously are trying to write these articles from a point of privilege, I will say. Yeah, I know you think you have privilege, because of this whole white privilege thing that I saw you write articles about before. So we definitely know that you think you have privilege, but you are definitely coming from a place of privilege right now, and that privilege is ultimate comfort that allows you to write stuff like this, especially regarding a post-apocalyptic world. It's fucking stupid, honestly, just really, really stupid. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.